From American actors who became governors, the former later elected president, the latter known for the phrase,
"I'll be back,"
to Chima and Chinua, two of Africa's most famous authors who, though not related, by some freaky coincidence, lived in the same house several years apart. And sadly, things did fall apart. To American T. Ribs and German M. Schumacher, Formula One aficionados born on the same day. From America's first black ballerina to Robert Ballard. From Indian author, teacher of yoga, BKS Nyenga, who reminds us that we're not getting any younger, to the drama in Bahama and the rumble in the jungle, a killer and a chiller and the thriller in Manila, to Malala and Lilibeth, the former whose son almost set in the SWAT district from an assassin's bullet, the latter Her Royal Majesty, whose empire the sun, it was said, never set, to the exquisite beauty of our expansive, expanding, and majestic universe. There's something for everyone right here, right now. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sotonye Afiesimama, and this is Today in History for January 17th. Join me as we journey through history and I share important events as recorded on this day in history. Coming up in today's Today in History, he helped draft the Declaration of Independence. Go check out my previous video from yesterday. I did give some of these clues. He was the only British Prime Minister to have been Welsh and to have spoken English as a second language. Interesting. A spinach-loving cartoon character. I did say, nearly said Spanish there. So a spinach-loving cartoon character. An actor famous for his deep, resonant voice. So now this is a different person now. So this is an actor famous for his deep, resonant voice. And the man who changed his name and called himself the greatest. I'm sure you know that one. So any ideas as to the rest? It's jam-packed today. Don't run away. Okay, so let's get cracking with today's Today in History. First, we present American author, inventor, and diplomat Benjamin Franklin, pictured here, who, as one of the foremost founding fathers, helped draft the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, so this is the answer to the first question, or the first statement. He helped draft the Declaration of Independence. Okay, so this is a guy, Benjamin Franklin. He was born on this day in 1706. Again, American author, inventor, and diplomat Benjamin Franklin, one of the foremost founding fathers of the United States. He helped draft the Declaration of Independence. He was born on this day in 1706. In 1734, this guy pictured here, Augustus III, was crowned King of Poland on this day. Augustus III crowned King of Poland on this day in 1734. Born on this day, the year was 1759. His name was Paul Coffey. He was born a free man on Cuttyhawk Island, Massachusetts, to an African father and a Native American mother. Coffey was an early visionary who planned a mass emigration of blacks to Sierra Leone successfully. He transported 38 black colonists in 1815. So from the Americas, or from the United States to Sierra Leone. He did that in 1815. The reason for the name Freetown, which is the capital of Sierra Leone, came from the fact that this was a town that was free, a town that was settled by freed slaves, rather. Hence the name Freetown. You know, they were not encumbered by the colonialists, the slave masters of the Americas and the United Kingdom. You know, they were free to live their lives as free men and women. You know, must have been a big relief for these 38 original Black Americans who returned back home. Okay, so on this day in 1820, this lady, English poet and novelist Anne Bronte, sister of Charlotte and Emily Bronte, was born. So this is English poet and novelist Anne Bronte, one of the Bronte sisters. She was born on this day in 1820. On this day in 1863, yes, this is another answer to one of the questions that I said at the beginning. His name was David Lloyd George. David Lloyd George is the guy pictured right here. You can see his name at the bottom of this picture. He was a Welsh statesman who served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1916 to 1922. He was the final Liberal to hold the post of Prime Minister. He is so far the only British Prime Minister to have been Welsh and to have spoken English as a second language. David Lloyd George, born on this day in 1863. Welsh statesman, served as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1916 to 1922. He is so far the only British Prime Minister to have been Welsh and to have spoken English as a second language. How strange, how interesting. In 1893, sadly, the Hawaiian monarchy was overthrown. Acting for Hawaiian sugar interests and their American allies, a committee led by Sanford Ballard Dole deposed Hawaiian Queen, pictured here, Liliuokalani, on this day in 1893, and installed a provisional government with Dole as president. Obviously, Hawaii eventually became one of the new states. I think it was the 49th state of the United States. I don't remember if it was the 49th or the 50th state. But yes, this was the day, sadly, that the Hawaiian monarchy was overthrown for Hawaiian sugar interests. C'est la vie, as the French would say, such is life. You know, sadly, people have their lands taken, their freedoms taken. It's sad, it's not right, but that's life, that's history, you know. In most parts of the world, the more powerful take over from the weak, and life goes on, in most cases, as though nothing happened. Right, next, we check this guy out, cartoon character Popeye the Sailor. This was the day that Popeye, a sailor known for his love of spinach, made his debut, appearing in the newspaper comic strip Thimble Theatre. So this is Popeye the Sailor, a cartoon strip who made his or its debut on this day in 1929. A movie has been since made, which I have seen. Quite interesting. Obviously a cartoon as well, TV cartoon, not just a cartoon strip. 2 years later, in 1931, good old James Earl Jones was born. Yes, I did also allude to this at the beginning of this video. So this is American actor, the young James Earl Jones and the older James Earl Jones. He was born on this day in 1931. His deep resonant voice lent an air of gravitas to many roles. He was born in Acabotla, Mississippi on this day in 1931. So happy birthday, James L. Jones. So we're looking forward to Coming to America. So if you guys haven't seen Coming to T.O. America, go check out Coming to America, which was made over 30 years ago. Coming to America, so the Number 2 is the sequel. Is it called a sequel? Yeah. So go check that out. He also acted James Earl Jones, and I think most of the cast, the original cast, made it to coming to America. So check it out. It's coming out next month in March. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Absolutely hilarious comedy by the brilliant Eddie Murphy. You know, the brains behind it. Okay, so let's move on now to the year, same year, 1931. So their birthday mates, Lawrence Douglas Wilder. Happy birthday. He was the first African American to be elected governor of a U.S. state, and that state was Virginia. So Lawrence Douglas Wilder shares the same birthday on the same day as actor James Earl Jones. So happy birthday, Lawrence Douglas Wilder. First African American to be elected as governor of a U.S. state, and that state was Virginia. 11 years later, in 1942, American professional boxer Muhammad Ali was born. So yes, also I did mention this at the beginning. He changed his name from Cassius Clay, obviously, and he also called himself the greatest. So Muhammad Ali was born on this day. Sadly, he passed on a few years ago, but this definitely, he is till today the greatest boxer in all of history. He was entertaining, he was very intelligent, he was very quick. So Muhammad Ali, happy posthumous birthday. To those of his family and friends, close friends, remembering him today, yeah, he was a very, very interesting individual. Very controversial in some circles, but very, very interesting. Also born on this day, 20 years later, pictured here is Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is a Canadian-American actor, comedian, and writer. Very, very talented actor, very talented. I love his films. So Jim Carrey, happy birthday, born on this day in 1962. Last but not least, American-born chess player Bobby Fischer became the youngest grandmaster in history when he received the title in 1958. He died on this day in Iceland. The year was 2008. Reykjavik, the capital of Iceland, he died. But he was the youngest grandmaster in history to receive the title grandmaster in 1958. Sadly, Bobby Fischer, American-born chess player, died on this day in 2008. That's it for today's Today in History. Thanks for dropping by, guys, but hang on for tomorrow's Today in History. I'm just going to give you a sneak preview into tomorrow's Today in History. The Thesaurus compiler is going to be featured. The first successful open heart surgery ever performed, the guy who did this, interestingly, you wouldn't expect what he looks like. Also, Winnie the Pooh's creator, and lots more. Don't miss it. Thanks for dropping by, guys. See you tomorrow for another edition of Today in History. So tomorrow will be January 18th. Don't miss it. Stay safe. Bye-bye.